Confidence is a big deal because the people that's actually running the world are not the smartest. It's the ones that's confident. They'll have a great idea, but they're so timid. They stay behind. Like, they don't want to be vocal. They don't want to be seen. So I tell people, work on yourself and be more confident. Because no matter what you're doing, be confident in whatever you do. Whether you feel like you're good or not, but if you're going to do it, don't let the other person feel like you're not. Be confident at what you do.
Hi everyone, Roland the Builder here again. So this is our official first podcast here with my friend Herland, and we're gonna talk about basically about entrepreneurship, how we start business, how we get to this country through faith of God. Say hey Herland.
What's up, everyone? Like you said, my name is Herland, entrepreneur, good friend of Roland. Happy to be here.
Thank you for coming by, and I would like to know, my story is not similar as yours, but we started from the scratch.
Yeah.
We started from the bottom, like he says.
It's still working up.
Yeah, so Tell me something about how did you start, how did you come to Miami, and why Miami?
Okay. Well, I came here at the age of 6 years old. My father, we came from Haiti. Mm-hmm. It was the seven of us, my mom, dad, and my brothers and sisters. We first moved here in North Miami. For those who know about Haiti, we moved in the year 2000. So even to this day, which is 2024, there's still a lot going on down there. So my dad basically just wanted a better life for us. Mm-hmm. He was here before us, and then he was able to save some money, start a business, and then was able to bring all six of us together. That's how I got here. My father came here in the 90s, worked his way up, and then was able to bring me and my siblings here.
So your childhood is all about struggling, seven people to get here to live and start in Miami. It's not easy.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not easy. We was like I said, 1-bedroom apartment in North Miami. Now you see the difference between here and I could say the islands. Mm-hmm. It's not about what you have that make you happy. So it was the seven of us in a 1-bedroom apartment. But we didn't really realize it. We was happy. We was happy because we had each other, and we was like, man, at least we have food to eat and things like that.
Yeah, in Miami, in US, this is the secondary. The first thing, how much you make, how you make, who you are, how people see you.
Yeah.
So that's the main issue here.
Yeah, but I understand though, because in Haiti, where we're from, you're not paying light bill, you're not paying water bill. You're not paying car bill. You're not paying taxes. That's true. Here, because you're paying those stuff, it's you have to work. Haiti, some parts of Haiti, you don't really have to think about those stuff because you don't have to pay them. So all you worry about is just being happy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from Europe, from Hungary, as you know.
Yeah.
I had the same feeling. I thought I'm working hard in Hungary. When I got here, I was struggling from the beginning. But now I start my business. And I just realized I didn't even work hard in my life. I just started to work hard life to able to get to the point where I am right now.
Yeah. So what made you leave Hungary to come here?
Oh, that's a long story. So we can do it in the next podcast. But I always want to come. Since I'm a child, I got denied many times. So I never get my visa. But once when they open up the opportunity for Europeans to apply for what's the name, the
green card?
Not
visa?
A green card. It's a traveling visa.
Okay.
I applied. I get it. I told I had a wife actually at that time. So I told her and my family, I'm living in America. I have 2 weeks and I left everything behind.
Wow.
So that's how I want to move. I had someone who came back to Hungary and I know her leaving Key West. So I told, can you help me? She said, yes. So I said, I'm leaving. So I packed, closed my whole past in 2 weeks, and I moved. I borrowed actually $4,500 and moved to Key West knowing nothing. I don't even know how I'm starting. I just jumped into wild and we just did it. And I didn't work for 6 months.
Wow.
That's how I started in Key West. And after I moved to Miami. But I never had a dream to actually open a business. Mm. So I just want to have a good 8 to 5 work in the restaurant, making $4,000 or $5,000, because back then, 50 years ago when I came, $5,000 in Europe
Yeah, that
was
was
like
a lot of
I was
money.
able to buy an apartment for that money. But
Yeah.
now everything changed, and then that's how I pretty much I started.
Yeah.
So, how did you start the business?
Well, so when I came here, like I said, at the age of 6, my dad, he was an entrepreneur. He had a transportation business where he would work with other entrepreneurs that was based in different islands, Bahamas, Jamaica, St. Martin's, just all the little small islands, Antigua, all those little small ones. So they would have shops in those islands, and they would come to Miami to buy in bulk. Especially at that time, there was a lot of warehouses in downtown Miami that would sell shoes and clothes by bulk. So my dad would take them whenever they come to the U.S. My dad would just take them around. They will pick out what they need, and then my dad will come with like the U-Hauls, pack everything, wrap them up, and ship them so they could be shipped out back to wherever they're going. So I used to go to work with him a few, like, even young, just to like, I didn't want to be home. So from there, in elementary, going to middle school, we didn't have money. So I wanted to make my own money. So I realized, kids like the chips and like the sodas. So what I would do, I would freeze. It was like these little Huggies. They call little Huggies. I would freeze them in the freezer, wrap them up in like Ziploc bags, and put them in my book bag. And then I would buy the box of chips at Walmart. That they came with like 25 chips. Get it at like a wholesale price from Sam's, and then I would just sell it double the price. And then I just kept selling out every day.
So you started when you were 6 or 7? Or?
Around, let's say a year right after, because, I didn't speak English. So when I first came, but by the grace of God, I'm still young, so you learn faster, language faster. It took me about like close to a year to learn the language fully.
Oh, that's good. It took me like 4.
Yeah, and I credit it because I was younger, like, So by the next year, when I'm like 7, turning 8, that's when I started getting into the business, because now I speak the language, and I'm like, I got to make some money. I got to stop asking my dad for money to go to school. So that's it. The motivation was to have my own.
So you did it for how long, or what was
I was selling chips, I think, for about like 4 or 5 years, because I stopped selling chips. I know I started in elementary, then I know I stopped selling it leaving middle school. So that's from elementary to middle school, that's like 4 years. So for that time, because when I got to high school now, the money I was making selling chips couldn't do the things that I wanted. So I'm a type of person, like, I've always loved clothes and shoes. So in high school, Jordans used to come out every Saturday. So at that time, the Jordans was 160. So I was not making 160 selling the chips like that. So I was like, you know what? I got to find something else to do to get the shoes.
You never get influenced about the Miami business structure?
No, at the time, I'm not even paying attention to like what's going on. I'm still in high school. I was really good in basketball. So I was playing varsity basketball since 9th grade. And so 2 things was on my head. No, 3. It was basketball, money, and clothes. No, basketball, money, and women. Because I'm not going to lie to you. Outside of like, buying stuff, but even the clothes and the shoes, even though I like those stuff, but it was to impress the girls.
Yeah.
Like, because I noticed the guys that had like the brand new pair of shoes, like they didn't have to work too much for the girls. So I was like, you know what? Like, I'm playing basketball, so I'm going to put my focus in basketball. Women, I'm going to just attract the women by having like the nice clothes and the nice shoes.
Okay, so what did you do to take it to the next level to make it more excited?
So quickly, I was like, dang, you know what? What I'm going to do now, I'm going to start selling clothes and shoes. Because I was like reading like shoe magazines. I knew like things before they come out. Then I started going to different events. At that time, there was stuff called like SneakerCon, Coin Slot, Dunk Exchange. So I got in that. I started meeting people through those events. And as I started, and mind you, those things just started coming up. And at that time, because they're just coming up, I started meeting the people that's actually in charge of these things. So now I started meeting like owners of shoe stores. I started meeting like managers of shoe stores. So whenever a shoe come out, I don't like the shoe's 160, but they'll give me 30 to 50% off.
Oh, that's
So
where you start to make money.
So from that, I'm getting the shoes, and mind you, the shoes I'm buying, even if I buy it at regular price at 160, because they were rare, after they sell out, you got to buy them for 400 or 500. So me, I'm not even paying 160. Me, I'm paying like 100. So I'm selling it to the kids for 300. So I'm making the extra. If I'm getting it, I'm selling it for 300. I'm getting it for 100. I'm making 200 per shoe. Same thing with the shirts. So I'll get like collectible shirts and stuff like that. I'll get them for $50. Those shirts, when they sell out, they go for 200.
So that was the first business.
That was like, but I didn't even think it was a business. I was just trying to make money. Yeah. What about you? Like, what was your when you first came
I was
in?
like struggling. I was struggling here for a pretty long time, like 5 years.
So you were
I was like,
you were not working at all?
no, I didn't even have a job for the first 6 months.
Okay.
After I started construction, I was there in my Key West for 9 months. After 9 months, I was like, okay, that's not my vibe. So I had like $2,000-$3,000. I had a Volkswagen Golf that I bought for $500. No suspension, no AC. I grab off my stuff and I move up to Miami one day to other.
What made you pick Miami? Like
It's like
from Key West to Miami?
Miami was the closest and Miami was the coolest.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have more money, so I just had to come. I come up, and one of my friends helped me. I lived in his place, and he called around people about construction, and that's how I got into construction. And I started working as a laborer, and I was walking in Wynwood when Wynwood didn't even exist.
Yeah.
So I get to the guy who actually is going to be my next interview person. And then that guy helped me a lot. So he helped me to work with him. I made 16 hours a day, per hour, 8 hours a day. And I work in construction for 2-3 years as a helper. So by the time I learned English, and then I was looking people, I saw how much money they made. I was like, dude, I can do this. It's not a big deal. I can just copy paste.
Yeah.
And I always had this mentality that, like, not fake it until make it, but I had to have this. I always had to show
A confidence.
I'm confident. I never break.
Yeah.
And I can do anything.
Yeah.
If you tell me, if you pay me, I'll do it no matter what.
Yeah.
So I figured out my way, and I just watched them. And pretty much that was the moment. After six years somehow,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, let's start a company.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky because I found the domain name miamitile.com
Yeah.
accidentally. So I built the whole structure based on that.
Wow.
And then we just started to, and that was the moment, okay, I'm doing some business structure or something like that. So that was when I realized, man, I got pretty much locked forever because I have to work more
Yeah.
to keep up the lifestyle, and it's just, that's the way it's work here.
Yeah.
It's American dream is actually, it's a very good concept when you're in the top of the top of the level.
The food chain. When you're in the top of the
if you're in
food
the top
chain.
of the food chain, you're good. But
When you're at the bottom, it's not so good.
I'm not sure at this moment the 9 to 5 was worst or running a business, because running a business is not easy.
It's not easy at all.
So everybody thinks around me, a lot of people are like, how good to me. Like, I mean, for me, I'm doing a lot of project, making a lot of money, but man, they don't know the struggle.
Yeah.
They don't know
behind the
this
scenes.
beautiful gray hair. What is grown here on my side? You know?
Nah, everybody sees the success.
Oh yeah.
But but I blame that on us too, because a lot of times we like to show the success. Like when we buy the brand new car, when we buy the house, the
Yeah,
clothes.
that's part of it.
But when we crying,
That
we
was a
never
bad
we
part,
never
actually.
show the crying. We never show people like. That's why me recently, like, we'll probably get to that. Like owning a peer-to-peer lending company, I'm going to court a lot. Like I hate going to court.
Yeah.
But now it's like I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just embrace it. I'm gonna show people like, yo,
So
like
how you jump from the shoe business and sneakers to this business?
well,
That was the moment when you tried to go to the other direction, and you get saved, right?
Yeah, so-
that was the.
yeah. So there was a breaking point
Yeah.
in between that. So from the shoes, wow, now we're in high school. The shoes making good money, but I know my goal. I was part of this group called FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. At a young age, a teacher saw it. It was like, yo, you're very smart. And I used to take like economics class and these different classes, and it was so easy for me. Like I would never read the material, but when it's come to like taking those tests, it's almost like I knew the answers. But I give credit to that because going to work with my dad, like he was already teaching me those stuff. So I didn't really need to read it from a book. So they put me in that program. It was a few selected kids where we would have time to like hang out with different CEOs. They would take us on field trips and show us different companies that's already like big companies. They show us their structure, how you started from the top to the bottom. So from that, you know, one of the projects I remember we had to create a business plan. So the first business plan, I was like, you know what? So I'm already selling clothes and sneakers. So I came up with an idea in the 11th grade to come up with a sneaker store where you can get a haircut. So I was like, you know what? Most of the time when people come buy clothes, they're about to go to the club, they're about to go to an event. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put a barbershop in the middle of a sneaker store. So you get your haircut, you pick out your clothes, and then you're out and you good. I even thought about even putting a shower in the store. So like basically like it's a one-stop shop. You're about to go to an event, get your haircut, take a shower, buy some clothes, and head out.
So basically, you're a homemade entrepreneur.
Yeah, so that was
You learn everything from a street, pretty much, right?
that was my first plan. But then, you know, I was like then I went to college, and I at that time I saw how much it was gonna take to like get a place, get barbers, and then I learned about how to get a Nike contract. So to get a Nike contract it's not easy. So like, for example, like you see like a Foot Locker or a Champs. So a Nike contract, there's different tiers. So let's say your first Nike contract, they might charge you, let's say $1 million. But that $1 million they're charging you, they're giving you like the crappy Nike shoes. So if they see you do good selling the crappy Nike shoes, then they're gonna give you the ones that everybody want. So that's how you build up to having a shoe store with all like a Nike.
Now at this time, we're talking about serious money.
Yeah. So I was looking at that. I'm like, yo, I don't have money to do that stuff. So that dream was crushed for that time. And then, like I said, I went to college for marketing, and then what they were teaching was just so slow. And then I eventually landed on in 2014 on Ty Lopez. He was the first person that really started talking about marketing from a different point of view. So I bought one of his course, and then from there I was like, you know what? I'm gonna learn everything outside of what I already learned from these different programs I was in. I'm gonna learn everything I need to learn about business. But it was not even to help other people. It was because I said I wanted to be the most successful. Going into it, like I said, my dad, he worked very hard to make money. So I told myself I didn't want to work hard to make money. I wanted to work smart. So working in the program, seeing the different CEOs, they never spoke about working hard. The top successful, they always spoke about finding a new system that made things more efficient, finding a new programming, finding different things that make things work better without having to work harder. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna study everything I need to study, read all the books I need to read, so I can have the knowledge, so I don't have to work as hard as my dad.
So you truly believe what you can see everywhere, social media, everywhere, like Grant Cardone, for example, like what they teach is valuable, or you can do it on your own, or because you did it on your own, but they teaching and they selling all kind of programs. But what I learned on my own, it's you not really need them, but you have to get out from your comfort zone to understand that. Yeah. Otherwise, you're never gonna make it.
But I definitely think you need a mentor, because like I said, my first one started with Ty Lopez. I bought a program. But then 2016, when Grant Cardone was in Miami Beach, I was already watching his videos, but then one of my friends was like, yo, like, let's just, because at that time he had a few 100,000 followers. He didn't have millions of followers. So he was very accessible. So we went to the office in Miami Beach, and he was right there. And from there, I just started talking to him, and I got some nuggets. So I didn't even have to pay the crazy prices that he was charging now. But then again, what they are teaching is very valuable. But I tell a lot of people, and I was telling one of my clients that yesterday, when you see someone successful, do not get caught up in their today. Like, go back to before they were successful. Because the things that they were talking about then is what got them to be where they are now. If you're listening to where they are now, but you're just starting off, there's gonna be a huge gap you're gonna try to fill. And I noticed because Greg Cardone, I went back and I researched Greg Cardone from the 90s. Like a lot of people think Greg Cardone is big for real
No,
estate.
he's big in the past few
Yeah,
years.
he's
He
not.
just grow a lot.
Yeah, he's not big. He's not really known for real estate. He went around the 50 states of America, in the early 2000s. He was the #1 sales coach in America. Like every car dealership hired him to teach their employees how to sell cars. So that's how he made a lot. He started saving all that money and then he pumped it into real estate. But Greg Cardone, if I'm going to Greg Cardone, I'm going to Greg Cardone for sales. That's the only thing I would go to Greg Cardone for. He's a phenomenal salesman.
I agree.
Yeah.
I will, I did the
Yeah.
10x.
You could definitely tell us about that.
Yeah, I can definitely tell us about how I spent $300,000
Yeah.
to scale out the business. And I will definitely say it's worth it. Not what the package, what I get from them, but the knowledge what I learned to fail. And then that's what make me very uncomfortable. That was the point what pushed me out and it's like, okay, now we're talking, now I feel like I'm an entrepreneur. Now I'm like, so I start reading books. I start to follow Alex Hermosi. Actually, to me, it's more understandable him than Grant, but also what he's teaching about sales is amazing. But I don't really like the 10x structure because pretty much they just tell you the same things over and over with other people. But it's worth it. It's really worth it because if you never get out from your comfort zone, you're never gonna able to move to the next level.
Yeah.
That's so. I was always so complaining. I was like a guy who was always complaining. I like to complain when like things not going good, but I learned to understand why failure is the number one.
Yeah.
The best you handle the failure, if you can handle the failure, then you're gonna go up, and you can handle another one. You're gonna go up. You're gonna go up. You're gonna go up.
Yeah.
So that was to me the biggest lesson to myself to learn how to handle pressure.
Yeah.
Because I handle pressure very well, but I always complain. So the moment I stopped to complain and handling like a man, then things changed a lot because, like I'm coming to you like, man, things are not going good.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna speak something what you're not supposed to speak and do.
Yeah.
And that was to me like a huge change about growing my business, growing everything, and that's take me to the next level.
So you said, okay, so from what you just said, paying Greg Cardone $300,000 to help scale your business, to teach you how to scale your business. Before that, you said, okay, you was in Key West and you just left Key West to come to Miami. So from leaving Key West to being able to pay Greg Cardone $300,000 to scale your business, how did you even get to like start your own business, and what are a few things that you think that made the business successful that you were able to even get to the part where you can pay that much money to grow?
I think it's very important. A person has to have a courage. You have to have something in you to able to make this, because there is a lot of failure. There is a lot of ups and downs. So, and if you strongly believe what you want to achieve and you just focusing on scale it down, then you can do something.
Yeah.
But it's not enough. So I had to really believe in, but I always missed something. So it was like always there was a gap. So I didn't know what was the gap. And that was the moment when I get like kind of stuck. So that was the moment I met with my wife actually. And then she was dragging me to go to the church, as you know. So it took me like 4 years to like, okay, accepted like, okay, let's see what they talking about. So I kind of open. And then when I realized what is faith, when I realized the way to get successful, that was the moment I was like, okay, we started making money. And then my business just took off. And then I just started to making money because I was struggling a lot. I was struggling years. And then from that point, when I realized, okay, something missing, but I don't know what is that.
Yeah.
Then I start to listen to other people. I start to listen other people, because I was like very hard-headed.
Yeah.
I'm very hard-headed. Then I was like, you know what? Let's see what Herland said. Let's see what Jay said.
Yeah.
So let's see my friends around what they said. And then that moment is just, I couldn't even hold back. That was the moment I was started growing so high, so fast. We ended up literally borrowing $4,000. No, borrow $6,000 to start a construction business. I lost all the money in the first 2 weeks, and then from that point we just took off. And that first year I made like 70,000 with my brother. Next year we have 70 to jump up to 800,000.
Wow.
800,000 jump we like 1.6.
Wow.
And that was the moment I was like, boom, there's a cap.
Yeah.
And that was the moment I was like, okay, I'm missing something.
Yeah.
So that was the moment I was like, start to learning about entrepreneurship, Grant Cardone, Alex Hermosi, reading books. I really get hooked on the first person who we were talking about, the richest person in America.
Oh, it's not the Rothschilds, not the.
Rockefeller.
Oh.
So I got hooked on that. I read the book and teach me. And when I read that book, I was like, I see how he gets successful to be giving.
Yeah.
The more he gives, more.
Yeah.
And that was like, I heard in the church they talk about this. I was like, okay, now I'm going to believe what the pastor said. And I start to learn.
Yeah.
And I start to open up to people and just giving and helping others to the level, because you have to know how to say no.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it's just, I couldn't control. And that was the moment I had to, okay, create a plan, create something, because still like almost 2 million, I was like a one-man person, a one-man company.
Wow.
So I run everything by myself.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, we have to do a plan. So that's what I was get interested in, entrepreneurship, like business structure, plans. And that's how I combine the whole thing.
Wow.
And I started reading books, and I realized like all the 500 Fortune company in the US, did you know that? Built based on a biblical principle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was the moment. I think in my life, that was the moment when I understood this concept.
Yeah. Okay, so went from Key West, started a company.
Oh.
When you started the company, things was not going too well. You know, you met your wife, you and your wife. From there, she introduced basically faith to your life.
Yeah.
And the faith principles, whether giving and other stuff, those allow you to go to the next level.
Correct.
So from that level, then you realize there was another level to get to. So that's when you decided to start learning about structure, how to put a business together, the marketing and everything, and that's how Grant Cardone. Wow, that's
and I never forget when I was flexing. I was like, "Hey man, we have a sell 2 million." I went to the first event in Grant Cardone, and then they said, till 5 million, no, 1.5, 2 million, you just figure out. You don't even have a business.
Yeah.
You just try to figure out so you have nobody. I was like, destroy that moment in the event. I was like so destroyed. I was like, man, I didn't even do anything yet. I didn't even figure out. And then the first event, second event, it's a 3 days event.
Yeah.
I realized, man, I was so proud. And it's just, I don't have anything yet.
Yeah.
So that was the moment I was like, okay, I have to seriously focusing on this. And I had so much back and forth, hiring wrong people, doing back and forth. And that was the moment when we started making money and the enemies came in my life.
Yeah.
And that was another level to know how to handle.
To overcome, yeah. It's crazy you said that, because now, because I know we didn't get there yet, now that I am, one of the things I do with most of my time is business consultation as a business consultant. I realize, because a lot of time we can see somebody and they have a business and we think like they're successful. Because, let's say somebody's making $100,000, $200,000, or even $1 million. We're like, man, you must have business just figured out. But I realize as a consultant, I've met a lot of different clients. Like they're making good money. Let's say $200,000, $300,000, Like, I have a guy right now, he's making like about 1.5 million a year. And to be honest, he don't even know how he got there.
Yeah,
Like
I had the same. Like I didn't know how do I get there.
Yeah, he has a printing shop, and he's an artist. So he design and then he print T-shirts. So he has a lot of big contracts with different like companies to print shirts for them. But he was like, man, like he just started because he loves to draw, and then he started printing shirts. But he don't know the business aspect. He said he's a natural artist, but because he's so good at what he makes money. So a lot of times you can be good at something, but you don't know the business side of it.
I had the same issue.
And I met there's a lot of entrepreneurs, they're good at what they do, but they just don't have the understanding of like the business side. And that was one of the reasons, like when I was trying to figure out what to do, I started meeting a lot of people like that. And I was like, wait, hold on. You making way more money than I am, but I can break down your business like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to fill that gap. Like, you know, you're making money already. You could afford to pay me. Like, let's say if you want me to create you a business plan, you want me to create you a marketing strategy or whatever it is, I'll charge you to do that because you already have the money. And that's one of the reasons why I got into business consulting. Like, and it was, my first one was for free. Like, it was a guy, he had a business, and he was just asking me for advice. Like, this is, mind you, I'm like, I think at that time I'm probably like 25, 24. And I'm already out of school. I'm already learning some things and things I already learned. Man, this guy asking me some advice and I'm giving him answers back to back, back to back, back to back. And he's like, yo, you know what you're talking about? And I was like, yeah, you know, I've been in these programs and these schools. So he was like, yo, like, how much would you charge me how much would you charge me to give me some advice or to show me like what I'm doing? I promise you, I was so scared when he said that because I was used to working 9 to 5. Like at that time, you getting paid like $15 an hour. So let's say your check after 2 weeks is like $600. So $600 was big to me. So I was about to tell him like, oh, 300. But I promise you, by the grace of God, because I was already in church, going to church. I gave my life to God at 18. So by then, I'm already seasoned in church. So going back to the faith, I heard something say $2,000. Like $2,000 for one conversation. And then I was so scared to say 2,000, but then something just say it. And I said, 2,000. I promise you, he pulled out his pocket $2,000 cash to the point I took a picture of it and I sent it to my friend's group chat. And I was like, guys, you wouldn't believe I just told this guy, give me $2,000 to have a conversation, and he did it. And it was like, oh, wow, man, like, that's cool. Da, da, da. And from there, that's how I started the business consultation.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, so I just wanted to piggyback on the faith thing, like you were saying, like, because a lot of people will be like, what does God or church has anything to do with business? And like you said, some of the Fortune 500 companies, a lot of their principles, a lot of their structure come from the Bible. Even some of the books we read now, like we read about like Think and Grow Rich, those books, even the other day, yesterday I was telling one of my clients, I was like, the Robert Kiyosaki book, the 4 Quadrant, and Think and Grow Rich, not Think and Grow, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I was like, do you know those books? He never told, on the record, he's never said this, but I know for a fact because God gave me the revelation, he got the 4 Quadrant from the Bible.
Oh.
And it was from the verse where God says, subdue, multiply, dominion. So those 4 things God told us in Genesis was basically what he wrote in his version of the 4 Quadrant.
Which I know earlier, right?
Yeah. So a lot of times, like, the Word of God has a lot of principles that, you know, people take from and write their own versions of it, but all of it derived from the Word of God. So, because a lot of people might be listening to this and be like, because you said faith helped take you to the next level. Definitely. And they'd be like, oh, you're delusional. But it's until that you experience the principles that you're reading from the Bible, you can apply it to your day-to-day life.
That's actually what I'm doing right now. Like, I try to change my habits because I had a different life before. Now I have a totally different life right now.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing right now, pretty much, I woke up 5:30 in the morning,
5 a.m. club.
and then
That's
harder-
another biblical principle, by the way.
I know. So
Yeah.
I started reading books. So I was like, let's start it. So I started to read the Bible. So I'm reading the Bible every morning, like at least 10 to 20 chapters. And then I had a really hard situation like a few weeks back.
Yeah.
And one of my very close friends says like, did you read about job? I was like, what do you mean job? Like,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like talking about job, like job, because I'm saving everywhere, every contact like job in my phone, customers. So no, it's a job. You never heard? I was like, man, no. So I was looking for in the Bible,
Yeah.
and actually I started reading. So I get hooked. So I had issue to wake up in the 5:30, start to read, and then actually it's helped my daily life, because I feel like I start the day totally different. I feel I start the day like smarter every morning. I have something to follow up. I have something to do.
Yep.
So that's
Yeah.
helped me a lot. And then the moment I get organized and like scheduling my days, also I read about other entrepreneurs. Like literally, I was like, man, that's so boring to like live by the schedule the whole life.
Yeah.
But the moment I started scheduling my life, everything changed.
Yeah.
I like more precise, more consistent. I have time. I have time to sitting here now. In the same time, we're doing 6 remodelings
Yeah.
and new construction.
Wow.
So that is a huge game. The moment you organize your life, you go in the next level. So
Yeah, for sure.
that's another thing I would say is very important.
Mhm.
So what would you say to the people, the listeners? What would you the first thing, if you want to start anything, but you have no idea how to start? You're just a natural whatever person who can do anything and grow to the next level. What would you do or start or say or help them to not make mistakes? Actually, it's a good thing to know what to not make mistake. But we have a common friend who's like very good. He's like analyzing everything. But I think you can be the smartest in the room, but if you never felt,
Yeah.
you're never able to go to the next level.
That's true.
So
A lot of times the smartest people are not the ones who make it because they overanalyze.
yeah,
There's people in my position right now. Well, in my position, there's people way more qualified than me. But because they overthink, they never do what I do. So I'll give you an example. Like most accounting firms, like the PwC, Deloitte, the top accounting firms in the world, their biggest form of revenue come from consulting. So last week I met a guy. He's a consultant, but he worked for one of these companies, and he was telling me like, man, I generated myself for the company. He said $2 million for the company, and then he was like, but do you know how much I get paid? I was like, how much? He was like, 120,000 a year. And I was like, you getting robbed? And he was like, yeah, that's why I'm starting a group. I'm trying to get everybody to wake up and like have more confidence in yourself to step out. Cause he was like, those clients he helped make 2 million, if he was getting, let's just say even 10% of that, that would have been 200,000 more than what the company gave him. So when I say that, he has a master's degree in finance. I don't. I dropped out of but look how I can make more than him because I'm not afraid to step out and start my own company. Him, there was something like he was missing that level of confidence and faith to be like, he has the degrees, he has the knowledge, but he's working for a company that, set him at a salary and he don't get no more. No matter how much you make the company, he don't get a dime more. So going back to the question you said, you were asking, confidence is a big deal. Like, I realize, man, like, and maybe that's why the world is so screwed up, because the people that's actually running the world are not the smartest. It's the ones that's confident. Like,
that's true.
The guys who are smart, they're like, they'll have a great idea, but they're so timid. They stay behind. Like, they don't want to like be vocal. They don't want to be seen. And I remember one thing I get from Greg Cardone that's so true. He was like, attention follows success. Like when you have attention, like when you're out there, people, like success is bound to come because people know of you. If I don't know of you, I'll never go to you. So I tell people, work on yourself and be more confident. Because no matter what you're doing, if you're a confident person, people's gonna see that first. Because some people probably do a better job than me or a better job than you, but your personality is what wins them first. So I always tell people, like, be confident in whatever you do. Whether you feel like you're good or not, but if you're gonna do it, don't let the other person feel like you're not. Be confident at what you do.
And that's how I signed my first job. I was like, I never did remodeling. That was my first job. And I remember in South Beach, and I get the job. I get recommended with someone from other Hungarian, and she says like, oh, we need a remodel in the apartment. I was like, okay, let's take a look. We went there. She opened the door. It's like a 2-bedroom place, nice on the beach. And I was like, wow, man. She says like, we have to remodel. Did you do that? I was like, yes. So pretty much I never did it. That was my first. And then when she left, we closed the door. My brother was like, why did you do? Like he gets so panicked, and that's his job actually.
Yeah.
He knows that's what he learned. I was just so confident.
Yeah.
And when she left, I was like, oh my God, so let's watch YouTube. So we remodeled the first place from YouTube, and he teach me, obviously. That was my first, and that's go back to the confident pretty much. Yeah. And did you know that also right now we have this entrepreneurial lifestyle, and 90% of the successful entrepreneurs is not coming from the area where like educated people. Yeah. They're like very like confident. Yeah. They like had not a best education level. But they're super confident.
I never tell them this, but I work with different people, right? Mm-hmm. And the ones that I normally feel like they're very smart, I notice like they're the ones, they're not out there. They're smart, but almost like they don't walk with the confidence like, yo, I'm smart. Oh, yeah. So they get put in positions where it's like, okay, I'm going to just take what you give me.
Now the whole concept is changed, because back then you go to Harvard, you went to high school, and then what do you want to do? Like the best education, because that's how you made the money. Yeah. Now it's opposite. Now you live in the street and you like, you know how to survive. Yeah. And you have like confidence. Yeah. You can make people to buy your brand.
Look what you said. Like your first remodeling job, you went to YouTube. Mm-hmm. There's a bridge. The gap is closing. Oh yeah. Because if you know what to look for, there's not a thing you can't find on Google. There's not a thing you can't find on YouTube. And now you have different programs. Mm-hmm. You have 3 weeks for program, 1 month program that can teach you different things. Mm-hmm. So, because now that's why now you see some of the biggest companies like Google. Google came out, I think, early last year. They're hiring now without a degree without a college degree. Like some of these big companies, Apple, they're starting to hire you don't need no college degree. Yeah. But what the main thing now big companies are looking for is experience. Like, show me that you did something. You didn't have to learn it from Harvard or Yale, whatever school, but show me you did show me something you've done. And now they're realizing the people who are confident, the people who take the risk, the people who are willing to say, you know what, man, I'm going to do this. Like, even I didn't go to school for it, I'm going to just do it. Those are the people they realize, man, like, they're not boxed. And that's another thing. Like, school is a great thing. The academic school system, I believe, it works, but it boxes you in. So I believe the person who never go through the filter of the academic school system, you're not boxed.
Yeah, correct.
So that means, like, you can wake up and be like, yo, I'm going to do it that way.
That's how I do.
But somebody who went through the Harvard, not even just Harvard, the college, they're like, nah, I don't think we're supposed to do that. Like, because their mind has been formulated to only think one way. And I think that's the game changer now. That's why, like, I thank God for the decision I made, and obviously he's working out for the both of us. But a lot of people, because I'm going to ask you this, because a lot of people that do take the entrepreneurship route, a lot of them don't work out.
Yeah.
So outside of the faith, outside of the confidence, what is another thing you think that what attribute you think that help you like become successful? Because we hear so many stories of like businesses failing.
Out of which one? Which was the two one?
No, I said outside of faith and your
Outside faith.
confidence. Do you think, for example, I'll give you some examples. Do you think your business is mainly like your marketing? Is it your marketing, your pricing, or the way you do? Like, what part of your business you think that really makes you like? That's why people do business with you.
My personality.
You're okay.
Just 100% sure. The personality and your brand, and that's why I believe.
brand, yeah.
That's why I believe what I learned, and just I feel I'm very lucky compared to my age. I'm like very young-minded.
Yeah.
So if I pick up right away things, so I can sense. So I just heard from many people, and doesn't matter age, I'm like not 20. You need to, I saw like Apple, like you said, Apple, Google, all the big brand. It doesn't talk about them phone. It doesn't
Nope.
talk about them.
Nope.
They talk about the brand.
Yep.
So I was like, damn, that's a new thing. I'm a contractor, but I have to build. You
Build a
have to
brand.
always keep up the game.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
So I was like, you have to build your brand. And I see how social media go. Everybody spend them 90% of the time on the phone. So I was thinking before even know anything, like, why will I just push so hard like Google, advertise? Because everybody on the phone 90% of
Yeah.
the time. So I need something to create what people can see daily.
Yeah.
So I was like, and at the same time, I heard from other people like, you have to build your brand. You have to build your brand. You have to.
Yep.
So I was really like brand-minded builder when I started Miami Tile and other things. So I was like, okay, and that's how I created Herland the Builder, just the idea, and then actually, believe it or not, everything I did in my life, almost none of them was my idea.
Wow.
I just listened for people and I just picked this up. So
Wow.
this whole podcast and story, I found in the elevator. And Roland the Builder is just, someone said, oh, did you hear about Bob the Builder? I was like, all right, we can do Roland the Builder. So I'm very good to hear things out.
But
And I just jump on it and
Not
I just
just-
do it.
I like to throw this because, like they said good artists copy and great artists steal.
Yeah.
A lot of time, and people will hear that phrase, they think it's a bad thing. But even the Bible tells us there's nothing new under the sun. You see someone doing something, somebody else already do it. So why don't? Because if you research some of the the Pablo Picassos,
Yeah.
you will see a lot of them. They went to Africa, they went to different continents, and they took ideas from those places, and they brought it here, and everybody's like, "Wow, you created something new." They really did it. So you saying that's a great skill to have, to be able to see or hear something, you take it, you add some spice to it. Like you said, you heard Bob the Builder,
Yeah.
now you made it Roland the Builder. Yeah, so that's really good.
I was worried the person was like, I always want to do something what is like unique, is mine. And in the same time, I realized that's so hard.
Yeah,
So one of my sign of my brain, I was like, I want to create something what is good. But why will I not just copy paste?
Yeah.
So I was fighting with myself in my head.
Yep.
And then when I realized, actually, if you copy paste and I start to doing what you copy paste, after time it's become
your style.
yeah.
'Cause
And I
even
was
if you-
like, that was like, damn,
Yeah.
man.
Because
That was
even when
like-
you copying and pasting,
It's
you
still
still
yours.
add your yeah, man. Like that's what a lot of people don't
I tried
understand.
to fight with myself when I realized it's nothing wrong with copy paste.
Nothing wrong with it.
And then even Bible says like there is new thing under the sun. right?
Nothing new under
So
the sun.
It's just humans make the same mistake over and over, and then business and actually social media to me, it's just we do always cycles, and I think social media is nothing but the cycle 300 years ago, because 300 years ago how people did business, who you know.
Yeah, word of mouth.
So people had a relationship with each
Yep.
other. You know when to buy a bread for this guy because you know that guy.
Yep.
What is social media? It's
Yeah.
the same. You're gonna do the business with the person who you know from social media,
Yeah.
and you feel you have a connection.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah.
If you Google me, I have nice reviews, nice place, nice company. You read good things about me, but you don't know me.
Yeah.
If you go to social media, you see me every day. You feel you know me.
Connected to. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's social media. I think that's why it's very, very important. And that's, even I'm heading to my 50s, I will still think that's the direction when we go.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like,
Sure.
there's no way it won't stop. AI here, so I think that's the future, 100% sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, you have to follow the basic principle, which is back from 2,000 years or thousands of years, the basic principle. So if you can apply this together, you're going to be a great entrepreneur. You're going to be a great businessman. You're going to understand how the world works, and you just have to put a little effort, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
That's my...
Yeah. I always tell people, like, if you're really trying, if you're starting a business or you're in business, there's two areas you need really. You need to understand the finance of the business, and you need to understand the marketing and branding of the business. Once you understand those two, like, everything else will come. Like customer service, like customer relation, pricing, and all those stuff. Yeah, within all, there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can go into, but marketing, branding, and then understanding the finance of the business. Once you understand those, your business will be successful. But I had like a final question for you. I know this, but I don't think your viewers know this.
I'm getting nervous. What's the question?
No, it's not. I know you have a background in art.
Yes.
Because a lot of people because when I see the home remodeling that you've done, I'm like, there's no way you just picked this on YouTube. Because you must have an eye for it. Because there can be another kid listening to this, they start going on YouTube and watching videos how to remodel homes. But the way you do it is just so, to me, your work is very beautiful. It's very like minimal, very like extravagant. So talk to the people of like, how did your background in art help you with the whole
It's
remodeling?
actually a very, very good question. I didn't even mention about this, but my background originally, not even my background, the way I born,
Yeah.
I just realized I was very good, talented, back to the old copy paste. So
Yeah.
every time I see something my eye just love it, I just start to writing. So my parents realized I'm like very successful and very good to doing like pictures. So
So you should draw.
I was drawing,
Okay.
create most of the time like animals, humans, faces.
Yeah.
And then that was my dad has a friend who was actually a high school teacher in the art school. And he was like, hey, the kid is like talented. So
Yeah.
that's the direction I try to do, like going artist. But when I was 18, 19, I always had like funny stuff in my life. So I told my dad, like, I'm good at it, but show me one artist is not broke. So I was like, I'm not talking about Michelangelo and stuff like that, but they got successful when they died. I want to enjoy the life. So I told my dad, I want to make money.
Oh, man.
That's how I didn't go to the art. And I started to doing like transportation and stuff like business.
Yeah.
I made the fast money, and that was like a gypsy life because I was traveling non-stop, making money, and we're doing like cash change and stuff like that around Europe. But I always follow my whole life the art. So a lot of people doesn't understand, like I'm watching a project, a building or something, it's done here.
Yeah.
Because that's how I born.
You have an eye for it.
I have an eye and I can see things, how they're going to put together. Actually, the logo I created by myself.
Wow.
That's just home.
Wow.
It actually came out pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
So that's how art following my success. So you have to have some special about you.
Yeah.
That's how you get unique, pretty much.
It's like, for example, most basketball players, they're tall.
Yeah.
or they're very
Yeah, you
strong or
cannot be.
athletic.
Yeah.
Like we all have like that gift that God has given us that separates us.
And you don't want to wish more than what you actually called for.
Yeah,
That's
and,
my
and that's
because
why
I want to be like, oh, like I always like the soccer player.
Messi.
No, who built a stadium here.
Oh, David Beckham.
David Beckham was like, oh, David Beckham. You don't want to be David Beckham. You're not called for that. That's it. Put it aside.
Yeah.
You have to maximize what you call for. You have to recognize.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I realized in my business because I started, I had like 50 million service. The moment I scale
Your
down,
niche.
yeah. And maximize then scale the niche,
Yep.
you go.
Yeah. Focus is definitely very important in business. But yeah, I wanted to include that because someone can be watching you right now and they might think like, oh, I'm going to be the next Roland the Builder. But they don't know that you have a special gift. So a lot of time we watch people and want to be them, but we don't know what really makes them. I remember when you first told me that, because I used to wonder, I'm like, yo, this guy knows, like, it's not even the way, like the houses and the things you do. I'm like, yo, you really have a talent.
I remember it's like
And when
no
you said
way
that,
you make that money without like knowing nothing.
yeah,
Like,
and I'm like,
it's like,
you have that eye.
yeah.
So I want like people to know who's listening, like, you know, don't just watch people and be like, yo, I'm gonna do what they do. You know, look into yourself. Like maybe God made you super athletic. Maybe God gave you an eye for colors or whatever it may be.
You can be also a good builder, but do your own, add your own
Style.
uniqueness, style,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you're gonna be another one.
Yep.
So, thank you for coming, and I would
No,
like
this
to
was
know
good.
what, just to wrap it up, like the final words about entrepreneurship, business, and just faith.
Okay.
What would be your final words?
It's normally the same thing. I always when I go speak, I always end it with the same thing. I always tell people, you know, when I was younger, I had this question. I had the question was like, I wanted to know that one thing. If I knew this one thing, I would be successful no matter what. And so I think that's what started that pursuit or that eager to learn, because I was in a search for that one thing. The moment I know it, I could tell anyone and they'll be successful. And I remember in my pursuit and learning this thing, I realized there was sometimes I was like, okay, maybe it's people. Like if you master people, then you'll be super successful. Then next thing, I kept looking at different things, but then I landed on, you know, discipline. So I realized out of all the attributes you can have, like you could be gifted, but if you're not disciplined, all of it doesn't matter.
You always bring it up something where I would like to go to the next question, but I think
Yeah,
we're
we're
gonna
good
leave
for
it to the
today.
next time because otherwise it's gonna be
we'll continue.
longest podcast. My first podcast is gonna be the longest podcast. So
I tell everyone,
think-
you know, stop, you know, take time to train yourself to be disciplined.
yeah, that's a very important.
Like everyone is trying to be something like the next LeBron, the next this, the next that. But before you even try to do something, work on yourself, personal development. Start with discipline. I remember I was reading a book. There was like one of the things. It was a Navy SEAL general. He was like, one of the things they teach them, they must make their bed every morning. And I forgot the statistics of people who make their bed every morning. They tend to live a good life. Like they tend to be successful. I'm doing good for myself, but I don't make my bed every morning.
Okay, so you don't.
Because even when I try, I'm very disciplined in other things, but I just mentioned that, like, work on yourself and being disciplined in the little things, because discipline is a thing that it follows you everywhere. If you're not disciplined in your eating, if you're not disciplined in your sleep, you'll start to see it follows you in different areas. That's why even in like relationship, if you're not disciplined, even your relationship, like you're not disciplined with your family, you'll start to see that you're not going to be disciplined in other areas. So I tell everyone, try to be as disciplined as you can in different areas of your life, because once you're disciplined, you can be successful at anything.
Oh, that 100% sure.
Yeah.
Discipline to me equal successful.
Yeah.
That's 100%.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming, and
My pleasure, man.
hope you're gonna come next time. So
Hey,
we're gonna
whenever
do like a later
Yeah, whenever I'm invited.
series, and then we're gonna see you back next time for the next episode.
Roll in
Thank
the
you.
building.
Claps to myself.